And that was the track Rain from the album Atmospherics. All these musical interludes are from some music I've been producing over the years. And you can find that on Bandcamp and Spotify or wherever you get your music. And that's a good way for you to support the channel. Just go to wherever you stream your music, search for Iparaten and just like it or play it, and that will help my algorithm for me. Welcome back anyway to For Light Past. My name is Simon. We are in the Huey, and we are over South Belgium, and we were looking at this crossroads below us. Actually, it's back behind us now. That's... Whoa. It's difficult to fly backwards. This is the battlefield here of Quatre. And we've got to about 11 o'clock at night on the 15th of June. And we've got Napoleon is in Charleroi. He's got his troops. Grouchy, Gerard's troops are pushing into Fleurius, just to the south of Sombref. Ney is at Gozelles, but his troops have pushed up to this town here, over here, where my dot is, which is Frasnes, coming up to try to capture this crossroads we can see over here on our right-hand side. You can join me, by the way, if you're on Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm on European West. Do join in, chatting, saying hello, all that sort of stuff, and you can become my co-pilot and sit on the left and help me out. Now, we finished off in the last episode talking about Wellington's sang-froid attitude. Wellington sends out a number of orders. The first one was just to concentrate. There was no real orders to move. It was just get yourselves ready kind of thing, to pre-prepared positions. Orders were sending out. Remember, it takes from, say, Charleroi to Brussels on this road would probably take a horse rider 3 to 4 hours to ride. And orders were being sent out all over Belgium. They're all arriving at different times. And luckily for Wellington, one of those sets of orders sent to Ponche and Rebecca, who was the chief of staff of Prince Orange, they disobey the order to congregate at Nivelles, and they remain at Quatre. And in doing so, as we said yesterday, by the time Ney comes up with a cavalry force that he believes is going to be big enough to hold the crossroads, he had around about 1,700 cavalry. The Paponcha has got the Prince Bernard of Saxe-Weimar. He's got about 4,000 troops managed to get to this crossroads before Ney does. And so these crossroads are denied to Ney on the 15th, or the evening of the 15th, and that means Ney will now be forced to engage Allied troops at Quatre. The whole point for Ney to come up this road to these crossroads was to occupy the crossroads, which is an important point on this communication road, I would call it, from Sombref, Quatre to Nivelles, that linked the Allied armies together. And so if Ney held this crossroads. He would prevent the Allied armies from concentrating together, and also meant that he was more likely then to be able to spare troops to go to support Grouchy's Napoleon's left flank at Ligny. All right, let's circle back. At 12 o'clock midnight, then, I think this is the point when Wellington becomes certain that the main French attack is from Charleroi. He receives a very delayed dispatch from the commander at Mons, whose name was General Dornberg. He reports that he reported basically that Napoleon has moved his forces to Charleroi and that there was no sign of enemy to his front. And so it's believed at this time that this is, if not, Wellington goes right. We're moving to Quatre Bras, and he, if not orders the troops to Quatre Bras, he at least orders them actually to Waterloo. He actually orders his troops to advance south, gets to maybe Mont Saint-Jean, or the Brunswickers got to Genappe, which we just saw back there, and that meant that they were going to be within marching distance of Quatre Bras the next day. I thought here would be a good point to quote Captain Bowles. He was at the Duchess of Richmond's ball, and he was with the Duke of Richmond at the time, and he reports to what the Duke of Richmond said at this moment. He said, "The Duke of Wellington said to the Duke of Richmond, 'I think it's time to go to bed likewise,' and then wishing him good night, whispered to ask him if he had a good map in the house. The Duke of Richmond said he had, and took him into his dressing room, which opened into the supper room. And the Duke of Wellington shut the door and said, 'Napoleon has humbugged me, by God, and he has gained 24 hours on me.' Now the Duke of Richmond said, 'What do you intend to do?' And the Duke of Wellington replied, 'I have ordered my army to concentrate at Quatre Bras, but we shan't stop him there, and if so, I must fight him here.' And at that time, his thumbnail moves over the position at Waterloo. He then says adieu and left the house by another way out, and he went to his quarters, slept 6 hours, breakfasted, and rode at speed out to Quatre Bras." Now, of course, this statement is probably written after the fact. There's not much evidence that there was orders explicitly written by Wellington to go to Quatre Bras. He did send his troops down the road to Waterloo and Genappe, and there's actually more evidence that the Prince of Orange actually ordered the troops from down from Genappe to Quatre Bras. But it was definitely certain that Wellington ordered his troops to leave Brussels and head down to Waterloo. He probably had the in his mind that this was a good concentration point. It is where the roads fork, so the right-hand road would go to Nivelles, and the left-hand fork would go down towards Genappe and eventually down to Quatre Bras. So it makes sense that Wellington would order his troops to congregate here at Waterloo for this important crossroads, and he was probably also aware, just south of that road fork was a ridge that he had surveyed the year before as a possible place to do a defensive battle. I think he was still at this point in time not quite sure what was going on about the direction, and what we're going to see is that I think what he does is he sends some troops down to Genappe. He knows he's got forces concentrating at Nivelles here, and he's going to ride up forwards, survey the area, and eventually he's going to come to a windmill, I believe, somewhere near Bry. Bussy windmill, I think it's called, and whether that will appear on this map, I'm not sure. And I think from that point, Wellington can, with his own eyes, then can see the concentrations of the French in this area. So the story from Captain Bowles, it's possibly a little bit 2020 hindsight vision on that one. Right, let's continue. Duke of Richmond's an interesting character. He had begged basically the British government for an active command, but was continually refused because his status, his rank in society would meant he'd have to be given a senior command, and he had no experience of it. But he would go to the Battle of Waterloo in a couple of days' time. He's dressed as a civilian. But his son says that he was acting as if he was on service. And it's even rumoured that he might have played some part in the charge of the Union Brigade. Not actually riding in it, but maybe initiating it. His son was the Lord William Pitt Lennox. He was 15 years old at the time, and he wrote of his father's behaviour that the whole morning he talked to his friends and made his remarks as if he was on service, not an amateur. From Wellington's point of view, we're getting into the morning of the 16th, and he's got an issue. He's got a serious problem here. In it, the way that the Napoleon has humbugged him means that he's now going to be fighting a battle on Napoleon's terms and not his. And if you know anything about Wellington and his behaviour in the peninsula, he liked to take on superior numbers, but only on his terms, not on his opponent's terms. So Napoleon is threatening at this point to force Wellington to fight before he's concentrated his forces. And so it's in order for Wellington not to have to yield Brussels, he now needs some way to delay the French as much as he can. Back in Brussels as well, and we got an eyewitness account from Charlotte and Eaton, I believe. Sorry, no, it was an anonymous eyewitness, probably in an account from Charlotte Ann Eaton. This is a book that was written Booth and Egerton, 1815. It was past midnight and profound repose seemed to reign over Brussels, when suddenly drums beat to arms and the trumpet's loud call was heard from every part of the city. It is impossible to describe the effect of these sounds, heard in the silence of the night. Instantly every place resounded with the sound of martial preparations. There was not a house in which military were not quartered, and consequently the whole town was one universal scene of bustle. The soldiers were seen assembling from all parts in the Place Royale, with their knapsacks upon their backs, some taking leave of their wives and children, others sitting down unconcernedly upon the sharp pavement, waiting for their comrades, and others were sleeping upon packs of straw, surrounded by all din of war, bay of horses and baggage wagons, artillery and commissariat trains, carts clattering, hammers knocking, chargers neighing, bugles sounding, drums beating, and colours flying. Let's pause. Let's just go and have a look, see if we can find that. Let's see if we can fly quickly using the drone. We can show you the distances involved. So we're heading up from this crossroads here. So we're at Quatre. We'll now head up this road through Genappe towards Brussels itself. So we're crossing over the Battle of Waterloo field itself now. This is the village of Waterloo we're coming up to. And we're now heading into crossing across the forest, and that's behind the battlefield and into the city of Brussels itself. So all that passage is describing this, basically this area around here, the Parc Royal, and we've got some photogrammic imagery here, so you can see this the center of Brussels, and this is where Napoleon, Wellington has decided to the ball would be, and orders his, and starts from here to order his troops to the south. So we now move into the 16th of June. And I think this will be a good place to just briefly stop, have a quick glass of water and a break. So if you're watching on Twitch, I'll be back in a minute. And if you're on YouTube, I'll be in the next one. If you like this content and appreciate the research, then please give us a like and a subscribe. Someone asked the other day about my research. Well, I mean, I'll do a whole bibliography thing at the end. But these are two notebooks I've got here of my research into the Battle of Waterloo. It's been a favourite of mine for ages, and you'll see these have been a series of notes. So there's 2 full notebooks of this, and I've actually just was in the process of writing a book on the subject, and so I'm just kind of reading my notes out at the same time. So I felt like it was a good place to talk about it using this first, just to get the sort of whole feel about it, because I hadn't got around to writing the book itself. Anyway, if you like that, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much.